It's 20th of June 2022. Day before the solstice. And I'll show you where I am. Can you see over the top there? You've got a regulator and a pipe. If someone's looking for a bit of help with regulating pipes. Well done. Nicely. So look, I haven't got my glasses on. I've got these rather rose-coloured spectacles on, and so I won't be able to read the comments even if I turn around. I'm not too sure where the comments come up, but I wonder if you guys can actually hear me or see me or anything like that. So you see me, hopefully. So look, I'm just assuming, I'm hoping, I'm praying that you're getting this signal loud and clear, and that me being at Glastonbury Festival right now, you're getting a slight bit of the signal. And if you are, even though I can't read the comments and I don't know how to read the comments at this section, especially without my glasses, I want to show you this shot from Mary Tudor. And I don't know if you can see that, but she sent me several shots caught from over Germany, and if I come over there, that was that's just a recent shot from, is that I can't remember now if that was a recent shot. If I'm showing you historic shots there, that might be from, that's from 2021, I think. But just to show you the comparison of when we'd seen these big activities in the past, I think in actual fact that was about August last year, or 2 years ago, should I say? Where it's you know, it's a big complicated thing. This specific shot here that's just come in, because, you know, in my opinion, we are going to be closest to that around about July, late July, as we're going to be continuing around our journey around the sun, and it's doing its journey.
Hello.
Hello, my lovely. How you doing?
Oh, see.
Excuse me 1 second, lovely people. I don't know if you're seeing me. I'm just doing a little live stream video as well whilst you're here, so excuse me while I'm doing that. But how can I help you?
I was going to say,
Hey Dave.
Hello, my lovely.
can I plug my phone in?
Have you got any
Yeah, of course you can.
gorilla bar things yet from Leon?
Yeah.
Can I grab a couple? Is that alright? Great.
Yeah.
You haven't got any block lines?
Guys, just to say, I've just got to say, I'm just running, before you enter, I'm running a YouTube live stream at the
Right.
moment. So
Well,
just
But you'll get more views now, won't you?
excellent. Lovely. I hope you're all getting this signal loud and clear.
Maybe. Nice truck. Right, that's cool. Yeah.
Come to plug my phone in.
There you go,
That
lovely
John,
people.
Karen.
There's some
Well,
cards.
sort of.
Have you
See
got
how
any
you
block
doing,
line
you right?
wristbands?
Aye, mate.
No, I haven't got. I haven't even been to
What have you got?
Block 9 yet.
What have you got?
But there's that thing,
What's that?
met you or seen you somewhere.
Come on, you're on it.
Right.
Can you do
I've
them?
been on the second.
Please.
Cheers.
Let me go out and
Well, I've
submit. I need
been
to finish
away
this
from
video.
abroad for about 40
But I haven't
years.
got any more.
Have you?
Those, what's that blue one?
That blue one.
Yeah,
I
just
can get that
get
one in.
Right, done, sorry.
Doppelgangers.
I can get you one of those later.
Where do you
Yes,
live
of course
abroad
I
then?
will.
Thank you. Around, all round
Thank you so much.
Europe.
Do I get him just a picture of that?
Living in
Yeah.
France
Great,
again.
thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I should
Scotland.
to my to lovely
Yeah.
people just
Maybe the
come and check out what we've been up
Yeah, I
to.
do, yeah. Yeah.
So here I am. I've got the truck. Can you see that? I got the truck finished.
Hi, babe. Hello, darling. Hi.
Um,
Alright.
I'm actually in the teepee
I'm on
field.
the phone. I'm on the phone. Thanks, Dave.
No, it's such a pleasure.
Cheers, buddy. See you later.
Now that, can I just show you, is the Gorilla Bar pass. Anyone who wants to come and see me down the Gorilla Bar, just to come in and have a little chat, maybe not about so much about planets and stuff like that, because it's such a difficult thing, isn't it, to kind of, for us all to get our heads around. that we just want to kind of have a good old bit of a gathering. It's it's such a strange feeling being here, because I feel like we've all been through such a bereavement in some way or other, going through all the different processes that we've been going through. You don't mind if I just sit here and chat to you?
Just do. I can leave. I can sit. What do you want?
No, you're absolutely fine. You're absolutely fine. I'm just running a little live stream just to show that latest picture on the that's what's been sent to me by one of my lovely subscribers. And I can't see how many of you are making comments. It says 32 people watching, 13 likes. I say you're there. You are there. That's good news. That's good news. That makes me feel a little bit more confident. There's a few people out there tuning in, and yeah, I tell you what, it's been so much hard work finishing the truck to try and get it here, and I've been cursing all the way through whilst doing it, because it's just been like it's been such a massive amount of work. All right, Ash. You know, I've just had to kind of do all this work down here. It needs buffing yet. I've just been kind of the first little kind of light sand and then buffing, but it's a symbol. It's a symbol. It's a symbol. These old trucks are a symbol of a kind of fantastic part of our history, you know, where the Battle of the Bean Fields and all that sort of stuff, where, you know, Margaret Thatcher sort of sent in the police to smash up all the travellers' vehicles, and this whole site, you know, the area that I work in Shangri-La, that's where the Gorilla Bar is, and if you show that past, you know, it's just not to try and be too cliquey, but it's just to try and make sure that anyone who's coming into the space is connected to someone in some way. You can't just wander in. You have to have some kind of and that's how all the bars are done. All the kind of like backstage and kind of members bars are done on Glastonbury are all done by, you just can't walk in. There's a little story into getting them, and it causes this kind of chicane of kind of exchange, and I don't know. It's just like it creates for a magical energy. But ironically, I'm not camped up there actually. I'm camped up here in, like I say, in the teepee field. My partner Rach is doing she's coordinating the positions of the teepees, so she kind of like, so we're kind of up here, and you know, kids, blah 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 blah. It's kind of I don't know. It's a magical space. Everyone's really sensitive, especially up here. And Shangri-La, oh my God, it's just like a machine. You know, it's incredible levels of build. It's incredible levels of build. We'll have a little wander around or something like that. Maybe I'll just do a little wander around in a little bit whilst I've got you on live stream here, because I've got a few likes there, and and just talk about, you know, because talking about the astronomics of what's happening now. Talk about what's of the astronomics. You know, we are right at the back end of our sun moving through the solar system. And I always assumed it was the front end, but we're actually at the back end. And I've discovered this whole process because of chartering this object, which is the thumbnail of this video. And we've just charted it so many epic shots since 2015. We're going way back, but from my time, when, you know, the shots that I've discovered through all the most amazing kind of dedicated sky watchers out there have just blown me apart endlessly. On this massive line of inquiry, that has led us to this kind of new place where we're kind of realizing that this one big flyby that's really been going on since the days of Galileo, this one huge synchronizing of, if you like, our sun with a massive celestial object that also orbit the same primary, whether you want to call it planet X or whatever. And this synchronizing point of these two objects finally coming together, and all the various moons of that big object as it comes close to us. And it's done this massive process, this massive dance of so many flybys that we've just charted as we've seen this thing leveling out And we've seen all the kind of volcanoes suddenly become long duration. You think we just had 51 volcanoes going off, and all the big ones are just absolutely, you know, I don't know what's happening with Etna and Stromboli right now, but you know, you're seeing big activity all around the globe as per usual, but the storms are massive and volcanoes are storm makers, you know, especially in places like summer, and these sightings have been coming in the northern hemisphere. They're between us and the sun. This object is exactly where I said it will be. And from when the first big of these objects that are coming by now, this flyby began on the 16th of March 2022 when we had the big 7.5 in Fukushima again. That was the beginning of this current flyby. We're running parallel to it now. It's not like it's coming from above the ecliptic plane and dropping through the ecliptic plane of our solar system. It's coming parallel. It's flying with us, but it's been flying slower. But as we bank round to continue our journey around the sun, and it carries on forward to ultimately rejoin its normal orbit of its normal primary, bigger orbit, which it goes back round to, but it will pass the orbit of Earth. It'll be much closer to the ecliptic, but you can imagine, even though it's been hovering behind us, and getting slower, as we bank round, it's going to carry on. So, if you like, we're going to lose speed in comparison to it now, instead of us gaining speed on it and it moving slightly, because it's been dropping back one calendar month each year. And the first object that we were observing, you know, you think about what happened on the 20th of July 2017. That was, you know, for festivals, you know, that was the Secret Garden was going on there, and all the kind of like all the teepees just flew up, massive gusts just came out of nowhere. And then I came out to America for the big flyby that I was predicting on the 17th of August 2017, and that one came in exactly on view, spectacular. And then you went back to the 20th of January 2017 also, and that was the big flyby that I predicted, where Dave Dobbs has completely lost the plot, and then the flyby comes in, it fills up the entire Mexican skyline. It's one of the most epic shots. You know, I've made so many videos about it, it's in so many of my thumbnails. It's just like, it's caused so much, it put me on the map. It enabled the big conference that Steve Olsen, which we haven't heard much from, but sending you love out there, brother. And you are a brother, mate. You know, you've spoken a lot of truth in this time, and I know it's tough to see that just the masses can't see this, no matter how big the volcanoes get, no matter how spectacular the sightings get. You know, that's a webcam, that thumbnail. There's loads of them. I'm getting loads of people sending me the same shot. Brandon, Corey, Natalie's putting the same shot up, all from various different shots. People are seeing it. It's like major what's going on. And we're not at the transit point yet. We're not at that transit point, and we've just done it too long, and we've had the chance to observe so many of these flybys and predict them so accurately and try desperately. And you know, my name was you know, the Dobbs model, the primary Dobbs model that I was working on from 2015 to 2017 died a death in 2018, because we started getting all the spectacular sightings like we're getting now, and there was no place for that in my model. And it was just like, where's Dave Dobbs now? And the sightings were getting massive. It was just, and there was a big part of it I didn't understand in terms of the sightings. And that whole journey has led to an inquiry of upgrading and finding the error of why I could predict earthquakes, volcanoes, and these flybys that seem to occur every 200 days, although every year you'd always be 4 days out. I said it would occur on the 25th of January, it occurred on the 20th, you know, it's that 4 or 5 days. And that, when you deducted this 4 days from this 200 days strange anomaly where this flyby was so absolutely dead set. We kept seeing it every 200 days. It was just like, what the hell is going on? This is just too random. This is just too much. And that deducting that 4 days left 196, and that is exactly 13 months. Exactly. You know, if you divide it by 13 and then times it by 12, it comes to 390, 365. Exactly. It's just like, it's uncanny. It's the exact numerology of as we would experience Jupiter. And so has begun this massive inquiry that has enabled me to realise that we're not in a heliocentric model. We're in a slightly more complicated model than that. And we are the ones passing through the ecliptic plane. Our sun and its 4 primary planets are passing through the ecliptic plane of the main system our sun truly orbits. We are the ones on the ecliptic. And our forward motion of our sun is, in terms of a calendar date, bearing, is moving out on the ecliptic 21st of December is our forward motion. And I've worked that out because of all these different planets coming in and going out. And when you build these models, you know, all of our greats, all of our kind of like main pivotal planets that we've been given all the way down the line, as I often show you in so many videos in great detail. All the perihelion points of all the planets, from from Uranus to kind of like to Neptune to Pluto to Eris, all being given different perihelion points. All that what that means, even though it's a long technical word, what that means is it's the front edge of when something is, something's orbiting something, it's going up to it, it goes round it, comes around the front edge of it, and then it goes back again. And this kind of like offset kind of like orbit, all orbits are like that. Things are going forward and things are going around them, and they're going around their front edge. You wouldn't expect to see a comet going through the sky sideways, or you'd expect a forward motion and things to things to have this front end. And because we've got this Newtonian model, this heliocentric model, where all of the planets coming in around the sun are all coming in at different, it means our sun is static. The Newtonian model is a static model, which means that it's very difficult to make sense with all these different players. It's very difficult to build astronomical models with our current model. When you just throw it through the basics of that, you realise that, oh my God, you download any model on that someone's built, and you can download all sorts of models on the Universe Sandbox, which is Sandbox is a animation dedicated kind of platform, and they've dedicated a specific one to building solar systems and stuff like that, and astronomical models, collisions and all sorts. And it's a wonderful thing to play with, and it's so difficult to kind of operate if you open up any of the models that people use to demonstrate all the different perihelion points of our sun, and the only way they can do it is having a sun that doesn't move, or moves at a stupidly slow speed, like 3 or 4 miles an hour, because that's the primary. This thing's going to become moving forward, and if something is traveling, if they're all moving the same speed, they're all just moving along together. But if something's moving faster, it's going to go to move in front of this object, but if the gravity is going to trap it, so it's going to move diagonally across, and in that diagonal movement it's going to lose comparative speed to the object it was passing, so it kind of slows down, which enables that which is now its primary, to move comparatively faster than it. And so we end up with this orbit, you know, but you know, we've got to come out of I've discovered by the entrance and exits, all my models, my last model that I've been working since 2020. It's taken a lot of work to get there to that point. And the upgrades now. That model was built by our observations of all these different objects and their timings, and when I finally realised that it could work like that, unwittingly I'd found the entrance and exit corridors of things, objects coming in and going out of our sun. I didn't know the forward motion of our sun by that model. The whole model was built without knowing I've got it kind of more going in the October, November position in the model I've been using, as I've been explaining. We've never truly known. It's only finally all just clicking together now, that December the 21st, simply because of finally making sense of the movements of all these different objects that started to appear outside of my own model from 2018, where suddenly in 2018, May the 4th, 2018, suddenly we had Kilauea going off for like 3.5, 4 months, non-stop spewing of magma, mega scale, just like we saw in Iceland last year, just like we saw also in La Palma last year. You know, we're seeing major league volcanic activity at the moment. It's just off the radar, majorly. You know, last year was the worst storm for 1,000 years, especially in China. Certainly the worst storm for about 700 years in Europe. And you can see what's going on around the world already. And you can see what's happening in China now, the flooding in China. There's flooding in so many places and other places, wildfires, because where you're getting this intense flooding because of all these particles coming out from these volcanoes which suck up all this moisture in these huge great turbines, these jet streams in the sky that become supercharged with tiny particles, and all this warm, moist air coming up in the northern hemisphere from the oceans, condensing on those tiny particles as this massive vacuum cleaner, only to lose its lift as soon as it goes over land. As soon as it goes over land, and drops this entire load, but so much of that moisture which was going to be gently carried all around the globe to gently kind of bring that kind of like rain much more evenly spread, is suddenly dumped all in one fell swoop. As soon as that massive river in the sky loses its lift, it's gone. It just drops. Mega floods. You know, that's a crazy time for having a boat. For that passage, you know, there's 2 passages this year. We have the big blue one, and we know so much more about this big blue one. Steve Rads sent me a shot earlier actually, and he's the guy. He sent me some amazing shots. He's really really caught some amazing of this big blue Jupiter-esque kind of object that we saw massive in 2018 in May. Everyone just marveling, why is Jupiter so big and blue? You know, and you know, I don't know what's going to happen now though. You know, we are right at that point now. Right at that point, you know, in Laughing Gas, I said, don't leave Europe. If we leave Europe, they're gonna feed, you know, via for these free trade deals. They're gonna feed, you know, I can't believe I said that in 2011, 2012. publish a book to say, guys, you're going to try and get us out of Europe. And we're going to be the Trojan horse to feed Europe into a war against Russia. All in the name of these free trade deals, where we're absolutely carved up. Utterly carved up. And all of that is unfolding now, and it seems the only thing that can stop this massive agenda right now is nothing short of an absolute miracle. And yet I feel like a miracle is going to happen right now. I feel like we're going to be alright in all this. It's crazy and whatever story's going on, however mad it is. You know, it feels like we're right in it. A friend of mine's just lost all his all the money in his Bitcoin account. He doesn't know if he's completely lost it. Maybe it's all, you know, it's all gone down. He couldn't get it out quick enough. And, well, it's just like it's, you know, some wallets folded or something. Yeah, I've just heard the loose end of it. I don't want to talk about it too much. And didn't even want to give it too much energy. I also remembered losing having all the Bitcoin, and had like half a Bitcoin or something, and about 16,000 XRP in my truck when it caught fire up in the mountains. You know, it all cost me nothing. It was early days when I made the first video on Planet X, and my truck caught fire outside the house, and then fully ablaze, started up and tore off down the road, became Nibiru. Fucking hell. I don't use that word Nibiru anymore. Even though I just used it twice then. It's a rare thing. People just like, I've had it thrown in my face so painfully for so long. It's I've become quite sensitive about it. But for me, it's all about Jupiter really, and this is the big story that's really unfolding. This is the arrival of Jupiter and what it really represents in our lives. A much bigger picture that it all really is. This cosmic time of, and most have no clue that this thing is going on at all. Most have no clue that there's massive planets causing all these earthquakes and all these volcanoes. Obviously volcanoes pumping out, Etna pumping out probably, you know, sometimes 80 million tons of carbon dioxide. Much more than the European Union ever produces, the whole European bloc. And it's just one volcano. It's such a funny old story that. But one thing I'm really sensing is that there's this massive kind of shift, and a lot of people are seeing through it and seeing through all the greenwashing and all the different stories. Thinking as a splinter or not, I can't focus enough with my eyes, but it's quite nice just to not be able to see too much as well. But oh man, it's so good to have this old truck. That's an old truck exhaust pipe for the flue from the burner. And I put new floor in it. That's what I had to do because it was all eaten up and so much stuff. So I had to just rip loads of stuff out and put new floor in, a few little bits. It's way far from doing it. It's like, but it is a symbol. It's a symbol of a movement, and that movement has meant different things to me over the last kind of like, you know, I remember lots of the I remember the riots down here and some of the trouble in like round about 80, I don't know, 87, 88, something like that. I didn't really own the whole trail. I was just so far. I felt like I was so far on the outside then, but then I guess I was there, having a little peek, but not. It was years later that I really connected to this whole thing, and you know, when I lived in Hong Kong and travelled the world and for a little bit, and then I just kind of like ended up in India quite a bit, and then when I came back to England I ended up at this eclipse party. I didn't think I knew anyone in England. And I went to this crazy eclipse party, and I used to chase eclipses all around the world at that stage. I used to kind of base myself in Hong Kong. It was just these wild parties and these crazy adventures, and it just seemed such an easy thing to do when you were kind of in a place like Hong Kong, and you could just black here and black there, and it just, you know. And when I got back to England, I didn't think I'd know anyone in this country, and I ended up at this eclipse party, and oh man, it was like coming home. It's just like all these people that I'd met all over the world. They were all at the same party. It was amazing. It was like me discovering my own country. It was just like, whoa. And I left in 91. Norman Lamont's Black Wednesday. There's no money around, there's desperate times, nothing. And it was just that it was so much resourcefulness to get through every moment. It was just a bleak time. I'm not crying now as I'm doing that. I'm just, it's just my eyes got a little dusty. It's more, I tell you, it was just beautiful memories really. It was such a fantastic time. You know, and I didn't, you know, I came back for a little bit. I came back for a summer in '95. And when I came back for almost for a year in '95, and just chased crazy. That's when all the kind of crazy free parties were going on, and then it kind of morphed into protest gatherings. You know, it was kind of like before it was IMF and World Bank and G8 and that sort of stuff. It was reclaim the streets. It was reclaim the streets, and that morphed into kind of like anti-capitalist demos, and that morphed into hello my lovely, and that morphed into kind of, you know, all the different the IMFs and the G8s and the WTO, and that's what this whole field brings for me. Let me just give you another little shot. So look, give us some thumbs up. Would you like me to take you for a little wander down through the festival? Should I do that? Could I handle that? Whoa, let's just see if there's any thumbs up for kind of like anything like that. I'll have to put my glasses on and see if I can see any of these, if there's any traffic and any of you are actually really hearing anything I'm saying. Can I even find glasses in this truck? What can you see? Have I got that the wrong way round? Oh look, have I been having that the wrong way round? Can you see me? It's just like, ah! Where have I? Yeah, I need to find my glasses, don't I? Excuse me, and I'm a little shocked. You know, it's just I'm just high here on absolute life, absolutely, just, you know, I've just been down seeing how they're doing with the Gorilla Bar, how the build's coming on, and it's just they're just on the floor. You know, they're on the, actually not on the floor, but they're like it's the most amazing space. It's the most amazing space. It used to be completely leopard skin. I think still quite a lot of it is leopard skin. Or was it purple? But we had it kind of like, we had it very lovely for a very long time, and I've got no doubt it will be lovely again. So don't forget the lucky pass I showed you somewhere at the beginning of the video. A screenshot of that on your phone, and a little story. You know, it always helps. It's hope some of you are gonna make it along. It's a crazy old time. I should shut my computer down really, shouldn't I? Because I showed you the shots at the beginning, and I can't do any more than that. And we don't know truly, do we? We don't know. We don't know nothing. Oh, I just had to get a bit of tea there just to yeah, so I can't believe that we're in the midst of such an incredible astronomical time. You know, we're running right parallel to this thing. This is the calm before the storm. This is us all just going. You know, this isn't, in my opinion, much research. You've all done so much stuff, and it's never really going to be sort of like a. None of us are going to be right. None of us are really wrong. We're all just looking at this in our own very special ways, trying to make the most of it, trying to make some sense of it. I'll tell you what, it's a beautiful sundog up there. Let me show you this. Shall I take you? Look, we could go for a little walk up the hill. Can you see that? That's what I could do. I could take you for a little walk up the hill. Well, look, it's resizing and doing all that stuff. Shall I do that? If I turn it up like that way, does it all sort itself out? Excellent. I'm sure I got a thumbs up there. We've also been a bit decadent. We've got a teepee up as well, which is where it's going to be kind of probably mostly based. But my partner's daughter, if it was all a bit hectic, we want a little kind of like we want a little place to you know, chill out. So that we're up here at the back of the So whoever you are out there who's tuning in, it's very, very exciting to be here in the TP space. Very exciting to be in Shangri-La space. I might walk you over there later, see what the kind of feedback is for having a little wander around here. But I'll take you up the hill. I built a big rainbow on the hill. Last year. I think you probably saw it in some of my videos. It was a massive, huge, with scaffolding. It's sort of like a little insect I did it with. It's like crazy artists who kind of like. Anyway, it was you know, I do love it. I don't know how I get kind of like how I ever got so involved in doing little things here at Glastonbury, but I'm very, very kind of like, you know, I'm just a little tiny I'm a barman. I'm just a barman. That's really all I am, really. And a bit of a crazy astronomer. So there we go. Look at that. Oh my God, it looks so beautiful, doesn't it? It's such a lovely festival. I'm so excited to be here. And happy solstice, by the way. Happy solstice. And for sharing this, do you know what I mean? It's just like right now, it's just like, wow, look at that sundog. Yeah, I'm chuffed to bits to be here. I'm actually chuffed to bits to be here. It's hectic on the build though in Shangri-La, and you know it's a really high level build. You know, it's super high level, massive scaffolding rigs coming up to do all the frontage for all the big marquees and other structures inside there, and then all the carpentry, and they come in and they put they put all the big fascias in and all the big kind of like other structures that are going to be kind of brought onto that, and then all the kind of like the people putting all the boards over everything and everything else of that, and then the ones coming and decorating all of that, and kind of like it's massive, and the budget is, you wouldn't believe how small the budget is, and what they build is just like you know, these are all the sort of people that are building all the Netflix sets. You know, it's this level of build that's going on. It's that kind of like it's really amazing. It's just absolutely, and you know, human connection is the theme for Shangri-La this year. You know, and I can't say any more than that, other than because that's all that's kind of subtly being released that we know. Human connection, and it's a good one. It's a good one. You know, we're all just doing the best we can right now, and it's a crazy, crazy, crazy time. We're all getting pulled into one story and another. And, you know, like I often say, you know, last year was the worst storm for 1,000 years. The previous storm was the worst storm since since 1998. The previous year was the previous year was the worst storm since 1930. And then the previous storm, which was, you know, which was massive. They were massive floods in 1930, of course, when we discovered Pluto, the big blue planet. That 84 years later, we were saying, you know, the orbital period of Uranus, 84 years also, you know, but 84 years before Pluto, we're saying, oh, big blue planet, Neptune. You know, every 84 years we seem to invent this big blue planet. And every time we invent it, we give it a completely different perihelion point. And our static sun that has no direction. And what does that mean if we have no direction? If in our sun we have no direction in comparison to the universe in which we travel? We have no real concept of how objects can interact with us because we don't know which is our forward motion. You know, we can understand so much about a thing when we understand where it's going. How anything's going to interact with it and cross its path. If you know where it's going, it's just like, where do you go with that in terms of working out a model, in terms of a vision of how you see? You know, it's paying me so much, and I subtly didn't realise, because when I was building these models in the first place, and I've built so many over the years to try and make sense of all these wonderful, wonderfully amazing sightings that we've had. You know, it's you end up in this debate, and it's just because we have the computer systems to enable us to ask these questions, or to kind of like express these ideas, to see what they look like if we actually put them in motion. Like I say, all those models on Universe Sandbox that everyone puts together, all with the sun that's no motion, and you can just take any of their models with Universe Sandbox, choose the direction you want it to go, set the direction, set the speed, and press play, and you'll see what I mean when I say all the perihelion points change with the forward motion. Of course they're, because the thing's moving forward. They're gonna like try to catch up with it. You're gonna see they're gonna, what else are they gonna do? Excuse me 1 second, hopefully my phone's gonna go off. My things are gonna pause. Hey sweetheart, can you hear me? Can you hear me? No, I'm not too sure. Can you give us a thumbs up if you can still hear me? Sorry about that. I don't know how the thumbs up work, but maybe you can, maybe you can't. Maybe I've kind of like unfortunately I haven't got my proper glasses with me. Oh my goodness me. Anyway, where was I? That was yeah, that's my partner ringing me saying where I am, and it's difficult to pause that. So yeah, Rach, if you watch this later, I'm so sorry. But I will call you back as soon as I finish this live stream. I don't think I have much of an audience in this country at all, really. I really don't. It was one of the most wonderful things about coming to America. That was one of the most wonderful things about coming to America, was seeing that kind of like how open people were to all of this stuff, how much big a story it was. In America, you know, it's a wild place, America. It's a wild place and amazing people. Yeah, so it's going to be a crazy time. I'm here, you know what I mean. There's going to be lots going on. Hopefully, in the bars down in you know, it's just all for fun, you know, and it's bringing us all together and this feeling of unity again, and we need so much of that. Look at that, it's amazing. I think it must be my first festival this year as well. I kind of went to the Scythe Festival, this little kind of like this very rural kind of like esque festival where people are all making scythes, and you can enter into these scythe competitions. There's a lovely crowd that go along and cut grass. And so for me to come along to this festival is, you know, 'cause most of them, you know, there's very few who can go along and be a right old granddad like me. And there's not that many. I can't say there's very few. There's lots. There's lots. But you know, I've just been, you know, I've been kind of like truth be told, I've been struggling just lately. I've been struggling. You know, this whole thing of just doing this whole Planet X and observing this incredible going on this journey has just is getting complicated. You know, my whole story with this is getting, you know, and it's getting to the point where, you know, it can only now turn into a book, really. I think, you know, it's you know, we can do these little videos and that sort of stuff, but I feel like the kind of like the core kind of focus of where I've taken this now is it just needs to be brought together, and all these different sightings and all this different stuff, and well, maybe we're just all about kind of coming to a new way of seeing our solar system and the systems that we're really surrounded by. You know, it's just everything's been a little bit upside down. Maybe all that's about to sort of like all that's about to change now, but it seems like there's a lot of stuff that it's just really awkward to look at happening at the moment, especially with the Ukraine and Russia and all of the weapons being supplied and the whole story there. I ran against James Heapy, actually. James Heapy is the one who said that the Ukrainians have the right to strike targets within Russia. He's our, in this constituency of Somerset, he's the MP, the Conservative MP. And I was running against him. I was running for the birthday party. Can't remember what year. It wasn't so long ago. It was quite long ago. It must have been about 2014, 15. My manifesto was a miracle. It was for the birthday party. And people were saying, how are you going to manifest a miracle? And I was just like, sorry. They're like, how are you going to manifest a miracle? And I was just like, well, I understand a miracle is kind of a welcome event, but I don't think it can be man-made. It's like it's more of a kind of like it's more of a thing with kind of like more of a manifesto than a kind of something I can actually do. Kind of voting on it, and I was just like, oh no, you're giving us that John Lydon look. Never trust a hippie. And I was sitting right next to, I was in the hustings. I was running 500 quid for me, well spent every time, just to come and go and do a bit of that. But I was just like, oh no, you're giving me that John Lydon look. Never trust a hippie. And then I looked down at James Heapy and I said, or is it never trust a hippie? But here we are. Exactly what I said would happen in Laughing Gas. You're just like, how do you touch any of this? I've never really known how to touch any of this with the messages that I've been getting and my whole journey on all of this. It's all just too fantastic for words now. Can't make it up. Can't make it up. So we're just like feeling this all coming together and feeling like there's been a bit of a bereavement and coming kind of like, trying to breathe through these times, and it's amazing times. The world seems so beautiful, and this is, I'm not saying that this thing is going to hit us, that's coming in July, and certainly the object that's going to pass us in August, the one straight after that one. It's not about hitting us. These things have been coming and going for time immemorial. It's just that they get to these super close points, and these super close points have massive effects on our astral connections. Massive. They're full-blown tempests. They are tempests in our world, massive storms, but in our astral realms they cause absolute havoc as well. The electromagnetic energy and all of these crazy connections that are subverting this planet, that are subverting humanity, they're all being seriously challenged with the type of electromagnetic influences that are now beginning to occur. And there's a much bigger picture that we're all in than this little story that we're all seeing just right here and right now. It runs so much deeper. I'll have a little look at the comments later, and but I just wanted to put a little message out that I'm here, and I'm going to really celebrate this time, this solstice time, and understand so much more about, understanding the corridors of things coming in and going out, of an object moving forward, and understanding this kind of like slow development of understanding the angles of intention of our sun and the objects that orbit with our sun. And I know it's become so complicated, my model. It is coming to a point where we're going to rebuild that last model that I've been working with, and I can't do overlays, so I can, obviously without glasses and without kind of like, it gets more difficult to go live, certainly with your phone, to run all those things in the background and do overlays. And I've just done it to death, and I just, even when building a new model, it just feels like it's become so fantastically complex that I just don't know how to convey it. I really just don't know how to convey it anymore, other than just like, but it is coming, and I just feel like, because I do build these models, we get an opportunity, all of us, to kind of like, at least we can put these things, all these different ideas, you know, Zakai Sitchin's models and all the kind of like great models that have been postulated down the line, you know, one way or another, we've built all of them, looked at them all in motion, and played with all the different effects to see how these things would really truly interact. And it's anyway, hopefully, if any of you out come to Glastonbury, you're going to come and find me down the Gorilla Bar, or come and say hi, come and tell me your opinions. You know, I might be wrong about everything. You know, I've just got an opinion why all these earthquakes and volcanoes are going on, and how they fit in with all these crazy sightings that we keep seeing over and over and over again, like the thumbnail shot I've shown you today, caught on a webcam, you know, sent to me by Mary Tudor, who found it on a webcam, a European webcam, but you know, she's in Australia. She's got a very interesting story. Bless you, Mary. But you know, many of my subscribers come from the kind of the north and the south, kind of like close to the north and the south kind of hemispheres, because that's where you get the best views of the sightings of these things. And no doubt that shot in Germany is going to be quite North Germany, and that's where, you know, quite a few shots come up there. A lot of them come up and you can, like, you know, kind of Alaska and British Columbia and that sort of stuff. But many south, you know, and these shots coming in are just epic. This big red thing, you know, it's just like, guys, what do you want? You know, but we just got too much solar glare here to really see it. Although, you know, there is a lot of amazing, I don't know what you can see there. You seen the sundog? This strange cloud that's kind of like looks very much like a little bit of a chemtrail-y kind of thing, just but we're expecting this thing to be leveling out, coming very close to the ecliptic now, and if you're seeing it in Germany, then we can understand that it's it's definitely in the northern hemisphere, and you know, as it's been in the northern hemisphere for quite some time. And the two objects, there's a pair of them, plus this big blue object. I mean, it's so unbelievably complex now, and I'm starting to realise that my models are just reaching this point where it's almost untouchable. And that kind of like but there's been some bigger patterns, you know, there's like this whole kind of like discovery of just how these kind of like the interspersing of all our primary players we've had since since the first dwarf planet ever discovered in 1596, Seti B and Mirror. And this 84-year cycle that we see, this big blue object that keeps reoccurring, all these crazy volcanoes popping off exactly when this big blue thing keeps occurring, and these crazy storms, and this big cycle, this other cycle that is coming into view. And it's an exciting landscape. You know, this kind of feeling of seeing the world in a whole new way. You know, this. Let's get a proper grip of that. I keep it in my hand over there in the wrong place. It gets so difficult to hold it there. But anyway, I'm just waffling on and not really making much sense of anything. And you know, the news I've just been seeing about everything that's happening in the Ukraine, and it's, you know, this. It's really it's a really scary situation. You know, I don't want to give it any energy right now, and yet, what the hell? How can I not give it not energy? How can I not? You know, that's what everything I said would happen if we left Europe, and it would backfire on us. It would backfire on us. But this would not be allowed to happen. And this time is, you know, the storms are exponential. Each year the storms are exponential. So I don't know what to do. I really don't. It's just a crazy time, isn't it? And I just looking at this time, just like, oh my god, like. I'm not seeing any comments or anything like that at the moment. None of those are coming up, so I don't really even know if you're hearing me anymore. To be honest with you, that's terrible to say, but it's so difficult to work out when you're not wearing glasses. And I'm so enjoying these little bit of glare protection from these rose-coloured or purple haze glasses. But I hope you're all doing well out there. I hope you're doing, all of you who've been following this one way or another, this journey of trying to make some sense of all these sightings and all this massive volcanic increase that we're seeing with volcanoes just popping off like left, right and centre. And this, whether you want to call it grand solar minimum, you want to call it the grand passage of planet X, pole shift. July and August is going to be a big time. We come to exit point, one of the major exit corridors of our sun and of objects interacting with our sun as it moves forward. July, August has always been a popular time for shooting stars and the lights, and there's a reason for that. Because it's one of the major exit corridors. Big times. I'm actually shattered, to be honest with you. I'm actually shattered. It's so lovely to be up here and to be here and just to kind of like and finally connect with you guys a little bit, and people out there have been following me on this little journey. There's very few people who can really look at this. It feels like less in this country. So it's kind of like it's just, for most of us, it's just going to be big storms or big droughts. And if they're going to do something with the currency. And it's all kind of now. It's all now. It's all happening right now. We're in it right now. In a bubble in a field. But yeah, the main passage is not going to be till 2 passages as far as I can see. The red one, the twin tail, and that blue thing. Whatever you want to call it. Jupiter, the blue Kachina. Neptune, Eris, Pluto, Uranus, Seti B, Mirror, we are right on the same ecliptic plane as that object now. Right on the same ecliptic plane. All these objects coming out, going around the same, coming to the same level as our planet. We're all leveling out. We're coming onto its ecliptic plane. We're passing through its ecliptic plane. We are. Passing through something massively big, something absolutely amazing. something utterly sacred, something utterly beautiful. So I'm going to leave it there, and you never know if you're if you ever turn up here, might see you wandering around, and you know, human connection is a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a good feeling, and we need that back again, because that's what's been split down the middle through so many different ways. And how they kind of quite express that, I do not know. Shangri-La, oh my God, it's a massive. It's avant-garde art at its most spectacular form. Everything there is just utter, beautiful, mega art. It's just amazing. You can show the thumbnail of the gorilla pass to get in, but no cameras inside, by the way. And you never know, might see you in there. Might see you in a film. Might see you in the gorilla pass. So much love. And happy solstice. You know, it's not a panic time right now. Even though our government might be seriously prepping now. You know, a big thing happened on the solstice, and I guess it must have been 87, round about 87, Battle of the Beanfields. And all the clashes with the security, and kind of like all the travellers clashing with the security, and the security and the police kind of having to kind of like come between the whole thing. It was just massive riots down here. Late 80s, early 90s. The whole movement was born. Whole little movement. You know. Anyway, I'm probably waffling on. You probably can't hear a word I'm saying, but if you can, it's been a massive struggle to get here. I tell you, it's been so much work, and his work's going to start for real tomorrow, because we have to start building this bar and everything else like that, and just like getting everything set up, and just getting to this state where we're kind of like moderately ready just to begin the main shift of just building the bar. Now the kind of primary stuff's in, and it's exciting to be here. All the faces, all your kind of like all your usual suspects all turned up. Just can't make it up. Love this thing, love this space. I've been coming here for years, and kind of like a big part of my community from all over the world, ironically. We've got our little families with little things here and there. I'm a little bit of a nutbag to make people, to be true, to be fair. You know, a bit of an oddball. We're all oddballs. That's what you really want to be in this world. You want to be a bit of an oddball, don't you? But yeah, I feel like I've got my tail between my legs a little bit, because I feel a little bit like, God, I'm starting to realise just how complex my model is becoming. That and the energy to try and bring it together into this new model, and just this, how unbelievable everything is at the moment. We all just feel so pummeled that it's kind of, that's why I say it's like a bereavement. And we've got to somehow get through that. We've got to somehow smash through that. You know, and I had a funny thing happen. I'll just close on this little story. was that I got my truck here and got it up on these blocks, levelled it, and as I levelled it, I hit my foot on my brake just to level it, to stop it going off the edge of the blocks I just put together, and I must have just hit too much pressure or something, but I burst something popped, my foot went to the pedal, the pedal went to the metal, but it's got a rock solid handbrake on it. We just got it for an MOT, but something, I must have done something, or I've just missed something, or whatever it is, but anyway, problem. Handbrake solidly on, in gear, just perfect. But I couldn't move it thereafter, and I can't move it until it's fixed. And it's right up. It pushed the wooden blocks right back to the truck behind, and so I couldn't get in the back door. So I couldn't get to my kind of like couldn't get to the tools. And it was just like, oh no, what am I gonna do, and that sort of stuff. And in the end, I realised the only way to getting around this was to cut a new hole through where the bed sits above the kind of tool cabinet below, right at the back. The bulkhead of that, which was basically the kind of front of the bed. I cut a hole through. And I know it's not like the most sensational nugget of information. But you know that whole kind of Poseidon adventure, you know, they completely bastardized the whole story, I think, in the latest version of Poseidon, the latest Hollywood version, where they completely failed to kind of bring in the kind of like the idea of the priest. You know, they're all aboard the ship, and the ship's been turned upside down. So everything was up is now down, everything that was down is now up. And your hero of the story, the main protagonist, is just trying to get everyone up, saying, look, we can just go up to the bottom of what is now the bottom of the ship, which is now the top, the hull, because it's turned upside down, and we just bang on the hull, and someone cuts the hole and opens it up, and we go through there. But the vicar is saying, no, the only way is to use the staircase and go through the top deck, which is under the water. And this guy's just trying to say, no. It's just not logical. It's underwater. But the vicar's just like, but God says, God tells me, God's told me. And you've got this kind of, you know, to make the whole story move along, to give it an adventure, you've got this kind of like the whole load of jewels in this safe on this ship that was intended to be robbed, but now the ship's been turned upside down, and there's these other guys who want the jewels, and blah 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 in this little story. And you can kind of see how sometimes we don't know how to open the doors above that separate us from higher kind of, if you like, realms of consciousness. But sometimes we can knock. And sometimes we can find other ways through. And so I cut a new hole. And it was just like, it seemed somehow oddly symbolic, because all the things I needed were through this little hole, and I felt like it was kind of like this symbolism of silly little things. I see a lot of that with trucks, like, you know, that just happening right then when the brakes just doing that thing right then at the last moment, the last time I used them, they fail. Like, actually, these need actually. Because they looked alright, fair to say, they kind of looked alright, but the truck's been stored for ages, and so maybe they didn't look that perished. Well, they did look quite old, but they didn't look like they were kind of like, they were properly, you know, when you bend them around and you see the little tiny splits in them that they failed them on the MOT for, you couldn't see that. So I thought, well, they might be alright, and he was just like, I think they're going to be, you might, you know, so he put them as an advisory, but saying that, you know, they're not technically, but you'd be best to change them now. And I did stamp on the pedal like stupidly hard though, because I thought I was going to go off the edge. So it's just, I just think it's God sent. You know, it's but it was quite cosmic. Silly little things like that are always so cosmic for me. Oh my god, let me just show you one last view of that. Now the sun's going down a little bit. It just looks so beautiful, doesn't it? Anyway, lovely people, I better go and find out where Rach is and if she's okay. And I've made a little video and I've shown you the latest shot that has been sent through to me. Thank you, Mary, for sending that through to me, and all the shots that are coming in. You know, this thing's between us and the sun now. All of these objects are between us and the sun. You can see the sundog on the other side, actually. I mean, that's just a proper good old-fashioned sundog, but I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a very exciting time, though, isn't it? It's a very exciting time. It's, you know, the solstice is always exciting. There's all these different kind of like loads and loads of activity going on because of the Silbury Hill and Stonehenge. This is you know, this is a field full of druids. Stone circles through there, but I don't think you can see it from here. But maybe you can, and I just can't see. I would be able to see because everything's a little bit blurry. But so it's quite nice because it's just so beautiful. But lovely to be here, lovely to share these moments with you guys. Hope wherever you are in the world, you're having a good time, and I hopefully you're going to be able to take a few moments to really collect at this We're at the back end of the sun moving forward, and I know that might run contradictory to a lot of people's models, but that's right on an alignment point. And that has a subtle wobble, a very subtle wobble, which occurs, as far as I can see, every 1800 years when we get a big close flyby like this. So we're in this subtle wobble time. It's not a big change, but it's what actually causes our ecliptic shift, why our axis sits, well, we think our axis is sitting like that. Actually, our axis is sitting like that, but our orbit, our ecliptic plane is sitting like that to the real ecliptic plane, the bigger ecliptic plane of the system our sun really orbits. It's a funny old thing. It's a big thing. It's a massive breakthrough for me in my own model. This final little bit of direction. And if you want to do any visualizations of that, I would really recommend that, to kind of try and have a little picture of that in your mind in this time. You know, work with it. It might be wrong with that. This is how far I've got with this right now, and you might have your own line of inquiry and debate with it in your mind, but picture kind of like an inquiry where you're understanding or attempting to understand the forward motion of your sun, where it's going, where you're going. Your galactic direction in this big story, your part. Moving along at the immense speeds that you're moving along with this massive system. Good to have a bit of direction. Grounded direction. You've got nothing to fear through these times. Even though it seems so scary what's going on and we're anticipating big changes now. You know, your soul is utterly protected in this, and nothing lost in this equation. It's just, this is the grand story. All the planets doing their thing. This is normal. This is the big story that we're seeing. Anyway, one last little glimpse there of our spectacular view and all the glare, all this stuff that's lost up here. Maybe you can make some sense of anything up there because it's just so much of it is lost in the glare. Maybe you'll see more in it than I can see, but right now it's just a perfect day. It's just a perfect day. Just having a perfect little moment, and such a lovely thing to share with you guys. You know, for all those who've been with me on this massive journey, charting this thing, all you sky watchers out there. So if you see this and you happen to be in this field, please come and find me. You got the pass on the phone there. Show them that. I'm being waved to, by my being waved to down there. Hey! So many people, I don't know if you got any of that. I probably switched the phone off accidentally halfway through, or I just discovered later, oh my god, the sound wasn't on, and everyone was just writing, Dave, you plonker, we couldn't hear a word you said, and you just sat there on a hill for the last kind of like 2 hours just waffling to yourself like a madman. So lovely spending some time with you. I'm going to make a proper video soon and bring all these latest shots and bring all this stuff, and I will send lots of books out and everything else like that. I've just been so crap just lately, just trying to sort so much other stuff out. I've just taken on too much, and that's just made everything go a little bit wobbly, and I've just kind of like, I do notice up there though, by the way, I keep looking up there, see, straight up there. That little curve, I don't know if you can see, that's been there quite, I'm not sure I'm overly seeing everything too much, you know, I'm not putting that forward as a potential shot or anything like that, but I just keep seeing that, and I'm just constantly noticing that, that semicircle. I don't know if you can see it, try and take a bit of the glare away, but it's kind of, we'll keep an eye on it. It'll probably break up, you know, you can observe these things and think, I wonder how long that will kind of stay consistent for. I wonder if that will hold itself for kind of, you know, hours and hours, or whether it would just blow away with the wind. But it's quite scary when you see some of these structures and they just stay there and stay there and stay there and stay there, and you just get so you're like, oh my god. And of course this, you know, as we saw coming down when all the red dust came over China, like not even a month ago, you know, and people gathering it up. When they gathered it up, it wasn't red, it was grey. It's getting oxidised, it's iron. Where the hell's the iron coming from, falling from the sky? So look, they're calling me to come down and join the party, so I've got to go down and get busy and start doing lots of stuff. But so I'm going to be in the TP field a lot, hanging out in the day, I think. It's going to be all night shifts in the bar, and maybe I'll see you in a field. So much love. Thank you so much for joining me. I don't know, maybe I have stopped this already. But listen, all the love in the world. I'm going to try and stop this now. Take care. How do I stop it? Maybe I walk down with you down to the I just pressed a button and suddenly I saw a load of comments come up. So I obviously just pressed this little button there and suddenly comments come up. And like I say, I haven't got the right glasses to be able to do any of that. But I might walk you down to this, because it's so lovely sharing these little moments with an audience of people that have been kind of coming on a massive journey with me. Because let's face it, you know, most of you out there, a lot of you out there are video makers, I know that. A lot of you out there, you know, a lot of you out there are kind of like, you've got kind of, you know, there's an interesting bunch of people that follow me. And there's a very interesting bunch of people that I obviously follow. And we're all kind of giving each other a lot of permission to think a little bit outside the box.
Lover, you down hills?
And
So was it after the wedding?
I'm coming down for the sunset. Oh my god, look at that. It's so epic. As soon as I go in here, but I will need to, maybe that I can just press that little button up there and it will stop the video. I'm so enjoying spending some time with you guys, but I know I should try and but I want to make sure that when I press the off button I don't kind of like accidentally leave it on. So I figure I might as well take you guys for a little bit of a tour. Back down, there's down in the sort of like main teepee area. Oh my god, there's teepee galore. They just go forever and ever. This is just a tiny, tiny, tiny part of it, but this is the kind of central hub of it. And well, it's so much fun. Like I said, I don't normally spend that much time in this field, so I feel quite honoured to kind of like to be here. Really, Shangri-La is Shangri-La's. Oh my god, it's utterly unbelievably cool. It's just going off. They're all amazing. You know, all the fields are just like there is word that a turtle has been lost and it escaped, and they want it returned to the outer regions. And look at my lovely little truck. I'll show you a little kind of shot from tucked in there. That to me is a symbol of our little movement. You know what I mean? God, it's been so much. Really, it was just a white elephant. It was just not really worth doing, even though it looks nice and that sort of stuff. It's not really worth that much. They're not worth that much money or anything else like that. They're just especially because it's mutton dressed up as lamb. This one is. Oh my God! I need a pair of glasses. I wonder if I've stashed any other glasses. I've normally got some various stashes of glasses here, there and everywhere. I would have surely done something sensible with them. Pocket, oh, round my neck. Yeah, I can bet loads of people are making comments saying, there, I've just seen them, and I'm just like, wow! Well, I can't read your comments. It's kind of like, But do tell me if you want a little tour of coming around Shangri-La and that sort of stuff, and seeing some of the build and Block 9s. Leave some comments and that sort of stuff. And I might do another. Oh look, here we go. And I might do another. I might take you for a little tour as the because they don't like showing too much of the whole art thing. Really, you're not really supposed to show too much of the whole art thing really until it's all done, and then get people invited in when it's all up and. But it's so much effort, so many people not getting paid that much at all, if anything. And you know, I used to come here and make loads of money and do all sorts of, and then I had to make a commitment to not come here and make money. You know, years ago, you know, I had to just realise that there was so much more to get involved with than making money here. And you know, it's Deb's bar, and ultimately it's Deb's bar. You know, and she was a big part in that whole thing of when that whole field, you know, the development of that whole field. Even though Kay is kind of doing the artistic, Kay Dunnings is the artistic director of that whole area now. You know, Debs was for a very long time, and Roy and his Las Vegas and that sort of stuff. This whole site's got steeped in so much lovely history. All around Stonehenge and the whole kind of like the whole, you know, as soon as all those traveller vehicles smashed up over the solstice in '87, where apparently the kind of like Margaret Thatcher invoked common law rights for the police to come in and do that because they were going outside of their real parameters, and so they were invoking kind of like common law rights to be able to go beyond what would normally be their rights of power. And it's not like almost like doing a citizen's arrest, and enabled them to do it, and it really backfired, and it caused it was Castle Morton that caused the kind of like what we call it is the you know, it was a massive free party that occurred in '92. It was so massive, and it was before internet, it was before mobile phones, and how so many people, one of the biggest parties that ever happened in our country, even by today's standard, probably the biggest, and how it ever came to be, I don't know, but it did, and the word spread, and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people descended, and the criminal justice was born as a result of that. And where there's been this endless restriction on people's freedom, so there's been this understanding, this slow understanding of what is sovereign rights, what are sovereign rights, what are our sovereign rights, and what power do we really have. And, you know, that's what this is all about right now. It's about kind of like being strong, standing. I know we're all feeling so, I'm feeling so emotional now. You know, it's full on. So, but it's lovely. It's just like, it's just amazing to be, we all put our differences aside, and we're all kind of like, we're feeling amazing. So listen, all the love in the world. I hope you got this. And I'm now going to sign out and leave you in peace. And you never know, if you did get any of this and you are in this field, please pop by, say hello, and we can chat about the weather. Happy solstice. Yeah, how do I do that? I'm going to work out how I go. Aha. See you later, lovely people.